come up with 80 million that she can identify, or no, yeah, 80 million. But the Republicans, we've listed the, you know, in basically the biggest budget in the state is the
Department of Corrections.
Yes, Department of Corrections, and her way of handling that is just to let out so many prisoners, early release, and just close 3 prisons, let out early prisoners. We're not doing any type of reform. We're proposing reform in the what's the word I'm looking for? Basically giving judges back the right to sentence people the way they should, rather than what were the sentencing guidelines that were passed a few years back.
That would leave us with a deficit then. We would still have a huge state deficit going into next year.
What Governor Granholm was doing right now was banking on the stimulus money to bail us out of this mess we're in.
Which may tie into what you're talking about.
Can I ask you a question? All this paper money they're printing up.
Taking the stimulus money, again, I guess as a Washington, let me understand how this works.
Well, basically, what the stimulus money is coming from Washington has got strings attached to it.
That's what I was trying to say.
What kind of strings are those?
Right.
They are strings that create new programs.
That do what?
Create new programs that give people money, basically give people more money, more programs.
The average person or government?
Oh no, it's a small.
Was this money intended to go? I understood it was for infrastructure, job creation, that type of thing.
That's what our opinion is.
That's what it was sold on, and in any case, it's going to go toward bailing out existing programs.
There's what is it, 18 billion coming to the state of Michigan, and 11 billion of that is going to be basically program money.
Okay.
What kind of program?
7 billion of it is going to be for some of it's for infrastructure.
Okay, some of
what kind of infrastructure?
Roads.
Oh, roads.
Roads. Okay.
I understand there are some of those projects in the works already.
And that's what, in my opinion, that's what if they're going to do a stimulus package, that's what it should be used for, create jobs.
Right.
But it's not. It's
we need to have it done in the private sector and not by government, because when government creates jobs, that's fascism. We don't need fascism, do we?
No, that's right. We don't.
Okay, then we need to stop thinking like fascists then, right?
I heard about the meeting, and my main concern is I'm a local businessman. I've been in LaPeer County almost 20 years now. And I may leave Michigan. I came here to express that to you. I don't want to leave Michigan. I love this state. But
probably the number one thing is Michigan business.
I'm down from 26 people working for me to 3 in the last 3 years.
What do you do?
I'm a concrete contractor. And I'm still number 1 in my market. What does that tell you? So from Walt's perspective, I understand and I know exactly what he's talking about. I didn't hear what these other gentlemen had to say.
We kind of skipped over it.
We haven't done
But there is, your first name is
Kevin.
Kevin. Can I address you as Kevin?
Yeah, absolutely.
Representative Daley. Kevin, I have heard this groundswell which Walt's speaking about. I deal with people all day long on different levels, customers, clients, suppliers, and there is an undertow out there, a real serious undertow that's going to need to be addressed by Lansing.
You're the only ones can do it.
The taxpayer thing that just went on is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, I know it is.
And I do my own little kind of impromptu survey.
And of course, the first thing we're called is terrorists if we're involved.
Well, I understand,
that word is so overused and so overblown, it's stupid.
But in my daily travels, as I kind of do these little surveys to customers and clients, I'm finding that there is a lot more people that would want to be involved if something could be drafted or something could be proposed, but they're actually afraid. They're afraid of IRS retribution, they're afraid of local police retribution, they're afraid their business might suffer.
Black suits.
So there's all this economic stuff that comes into play if people raise their voice, their opinions. I think from my own personal point of view, I don't know how much longer I'll stay in the state. One of the reasons I went to Texas was for that very reason, economic reasons. Political reasons, I mean, it's taken us 30 years to get here in both parties. I've supported the Republican Party my whole life, but I won't do it again.
Well, they aren't.
I mean, I have worked at grassroots, raised money, done door-to-door. I worked for Mr. Stahl, both of his campaigns. I will not support the Republican Party. And I don't know you personally or your platform. So I'm a registered independent now and am looking for an alternative to both parties. I do understand what Walt's talking about. We've spoken on occasion by phone. There is an undertow. I don't think the legislative body in Lansing necessarily understands what's going on, but in my area, in your district, people are starting to get to the point where you're going to have problems here pretty soon.
And it's not just here; it's all over the state.
Yeah, and,
It's all
and
over the country.
And I'm here as a businessman, just to look you straight in the face and say, what can we do? Because I don't want to see people get hurt and stuff.
Right.
And there's a level of anger that's underlying frustration, maybe. Michigan's in a tank, and it's going to be for several years.
Yep,
This GM thing, this Chrysler thing, maybe Ford, who knows? When Brooks Patterson said nuclear winter, if these companies go under, you know, my daughter's 23 years old, graduating from Oakland University. She wants out of here in the worst way.
She has no
loves
future.
The state.
Nothing.
She loves the state. She said, Dad, I'm
Ain't no
gone.
better place to live than here.
She said, I got to get out of here. You know, so we have a 1.2 billion dollar deficit next year.
1.5.
Who's that local politician?
1.5. Hey, Al,
1.5. How do we address that?
I just stopped to harass you for 30 seconds.
Okay.
These people are fine.
Okay, thanks.
I mean, is there going to be bailout money for that? I don't understand where we're going to go next year.
Well, that's exactly what on the Republican side. I mean, the Democrats just don't see that. The Republican side in Lansing, that's exactly what our concern is. At the end of this bailout money, there's nothing there to run the.
I have a question.
More bailout money.
Who's going to pay off the debt? If nobody's working, who's going to pay the debt off?
Well, that's
That's the
Right?
problem.
You're
That's the
absolutely-
problem.
You create all this paper money, nobody's working, who's going to pay it off?
nobody is.
Okay, that's my issue.
The revenue doesn't. We've got
Okay.
a situation right now. We've got a situation with a governor that can make all the difference in the world of this.
She ain't going to do nothing.
And
She was
she's not
wanting to go
doing
in
anything
Obama's
because
administration.
She wants the Obama bucks, as we call them, or the stimulus money to balance the budget. That's not the way it should be done.
She's that's what the plan is then.
Oh, absolutely.
To
And
balance
she
it
wants
up.
to, and
The
I
issue-
guarantee you, we will be right down to October. I would just about guarantee we'll be locked up again over there.
Let me-
She'll be wanting to put in a graduated income tax,
Right.
tax more.
Which is the second plank in the Communist Manifesto, heavy progressive graduated income tax. Do you want socialist communism? I don't
What do
either.
you,
None of us do.
what
In our
do you-
right mind.
What is there any you know in your travels in Lansing? Is there any kind of support through the GOP or through independents or anything for anything to try to stop what's going on as far as the governor's concerned?
We got to do this, man.
I
Got
mean,
to.
is there some way legislative? Is there some way peaceably through the proper channels that?
Well, the thing you got to remember is I've been there in 3 months.
I understand that. Yeah, so it's kind
And
of
so that's right. I mean,
baptism by fire.
That's
I understand. Right.
And that's been and you know, I've
You're still on a
unfortunately
learning
tried-
curve.
I believe, yeah, that's right.
Right.
So it's a huge learning
Right,
curve
absolutely.
too. I mean, this is just, I
Right.
mean, this is the biggest part of this whole issue. But there is a lot of, I mean, you've got every single department, everything that goes on
Right.
over there is
Right.
Yeah,
huge.
Overwhelming.
One of the things, if I may say something, and
Here, go ahead, brother.
What we're talking about is a little bit is we feel unrepresented,
That's
really,
right.
and the reason we feel unrepresented is because our votes really don't count. We're in this electoral college crap,
Nobody's listening to
and
us.
I've voted Republican ever since Reagan, and my vote has gone nowhere. I mean, it's basically within the state. Now, fortunately, you know, the Republicans have won more times than not, but my individual votes in the state, this state has gone Democrat. How many years?
Do you know the problem is? Along with what you're saying, we have 40 years of Democratic majority in Washington, which create all this socialist, communist garbage that we're suffering under right now. The Republicans had a minority in Washington. We had a Republican majority for what, 15 years maybe? And what happened with them? The same exact programs kept going. They kept voting the same
Right.
socialist, communist garbage, which is getting us into fascism, which is the government telling private enterprise what to
My
do.
question was, is anything being done to change the electoral college? Because in this day and time, everybody should have their individual votes counted. And
That's only done
serious.
by constitutional amendment.
Right.
I don't
That's a
care.
national
Whatever it
issue, yeah.
takes, that is very important this day and time.
You'd have to have.
And my main
that's a
reason for
huge
being
project.
here is has nothing to do with what I'm saying right now. But since we were talking about that, people.
And to answer your question at a state level, no. But that's a national issue.
It's a national
And I
issue,
don't
but it's got
know.
to start
It's not going to be
somewhere.
resolved.
Somewhere.
It's not going to be resolved. Washington is not going to listen to
And
us.
I
They never
tell
will.
You know, I've voted ever since I was 21 years old, and every time I vote in Michigan, I said, well, you know, I'll go vote, but what's the use?
And that's part of the reason why people don't bother to vote. I think,
Exactly.
because they
You're
feel
gonna
it isn't going to matter
If you
anyway.
get rid of the electoral college, and I know it was around for a good reason back in its day, but its day has been gone a long time.
What is your first name?
First name's Robert, but
Robert?
middle name's Jerry.
Jerry?
I go by Jerry.
Jerry, let me ask you a question.